friends. Today I'm going to talk about mistakes that I made as a bearded dragon owner. So maybe you've made these too, maybe you haven't, but thank you for stopping by to hear the things that I did that I now go, oops, that wasn't the best idea. You live and learn, and I hope this gives you some peace of mind that if you've done any of these things that, it'll be fine, and you're learning, and, you're not alone. My first bearded dragon, I could probably count the number of times that I held her on both my hands. Kaiju, I pick him up almost every day. Some days I'm not able to. Just depends on how he's doing and my day. But I handle him all the time, and as you can see, he's very, very comfortable with me. My first bearded dragon, she wasn't skittish actually. She was pretty mellow. Less active than him, so I could have picked her up a whole lot more, but I just didn't. It was my first bearded dragon, and I assumed that they would just come to me, and they don't. You have to just pick them up. If you don't just pick them up, they're probably not going to come to you. If they do come to you, you're pretty lucky. But I don't know a lot of people whose bearded dragons will just come right out and hang out with them. He will, if he is feeling frisky or might poop, he'll glass surf and let me know that he wants to come out. But otherwise, if I'm just like, hey, open the door, he's not just going to come out for me. Back when I had my first one, I started with a red light because that's what I had known from a friend of mine who had a snake. And I don't know if certain snakes can have them and certain can't, or if it was just a thing that people did back then. But I got a red light so I could view her at night. And then I also had a coil UVB. So I bought a kit that had a coil UVB and a red light in it. It was like a double dome thing. Now we know that coil UVBs are not adequate enough because they don't cover enough of the enclosure. They might not be powerful enough. So the lighting now is much better. So she used to just stay in one spot, and now I think I know why. I think it was because she was basking not only under the heat source, but also under the UVB, and that's why she didn't have NBD, because she was under that concentrated area. If she didn't bask all the time, because it was pretty much all the time, she might have had issues, but she never had NBD when she was with me. I did not offer her as much of a variety as food as I did for Kaiju. There are a lot more resources now than there was when I had my first bearded dragon about 8 years ago. I would feed her, she had her greens, mustard greens. I think I gave her carrots, probably cucumbers. But now I know of like the full diet that they need, and I give him a nice variety of food. I also know that fruit isn't the best. You can give them fruit rarely, but it does hurt their teeth. Hi. Hey, buddy. Hey, dude. You want to hang out on me? Come here. It does hurt their teeth, so it can actually make them, they might need dental work if you do that. So don't give them fruit unless you really feel the need to give them fruit. But if you do it very, very rarely. I just don't think they need it. There's so many other options that are better for them and better for their teeth. Let's see. Also, feeders. I used to feed my first bearded dragon crickets, and I got her mealworms. That was pretty much the two that I fed her. And I got silkworms once and a hornworm once. Oh, I did do waxworms, which are really fatty and not the best. Hi. So now I don't feed him waxworms because they're fatty. I don't feed him mealworms because they're a little bit harder to digest. There's so many other feeders out there. I don't do the mealworm thing, but I do dubia roaches, which I never thought I would do because I have lived in 2 apartments in my lifetime with cockroaches, and I was like, I will never have roaches in my house on purpose. I was wrong because I love this dude, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get him what he needs. And dubia roaches are pretty great. They're very nutritious. So I went ahead, hey buddy. I went ahead and found a system. If you want to see what it is, I did also make a video about him eating dubia roaches. A way to just make sure they don't escape and get all over your house, even though I'm told that they don't really thrive if they do. I just am paranoid because I really don't want an infestation of any kind. So I have a system for that. And if anyone dragon sits, which it's only happened twice, then I don't have dubia roaches on hand so that they don't accidentally get out. I'll give them crickets, worms, and stuff. I feed him, so dubia roaches, crickets, kind of like a last resort, or if I get banded crickets, I feed him super worms, silkworms, hornworms on occasion, and black soldier fly larvae, which I didn't even know about back then. I don't know if it was really a known feeder back then. So definitely he gets a bigger variety of food. Hi. Hey, buddy. Also, I take him outside. I didn't take my first bearded dragon outside, I think, even once. And I don't take him outside all the time, but I do take him out. He has been outside. I talk to him. I sing to him. I interact with him. I made songs for him. So we're definitely, I definitely have more of a bond with this guy. My first bearded dragon, because of the lighting and everything, I don't know if she stayed in that whole spot because that was just where all the heating and lighting was, or if she stayed in that spot and didn't move because she was bored. You know, you never really quite know, but it could have very well been that the lighting was wrong, and that's why she wouldn't really move from that area, because that was her best spot. Oh, with both, I put a cover over their enclosure at night. So when they're sleeping, they have a curtain that covers it up so that it's not so bright. The first bearded dragon, she did not have as big of an enclosure as he does. He has a 4x2x2. Her enclosure as an adult was a 36 by 18 by 18. So 36, 36, 36. And back then that was thought to be a good size, but now we know that they need more space. So he has a 4x2x2. So he gets some good runaround time in his enclosure. Let's see what else. What other mistakes have I made? Oh, I had reptile carpet with my first bearded dragon. I did have a couple so I could wash them and switch them out. I did move to paper towels at one point, but I did start out with reptile carpet, and reptile carpet can be dangerous because they can snag their nails. It can also kind of hold on to bacteria. So it's not the best. If you do get it, you just want to know that that is a risk, and also that you'll really want to clean it well. Let's see. With both beardies, I had little stones for them to be able to walk on and kind of wear down their nails. Yeah, I mean, now's a really great time to be a reptile mom because there's a lot more information. Some of the information is better than others. When I was in the store, I thought about getting the crushed walnut and calci sand that they sell at the pet store because I didn't know that it's not good for your reptile, even though it has a bearded dragon on it. But I know that now. But if you did, don't feel bad. You're not alone. I almost did it. A lot of people do it because they see it and they think it's fine for bearded dragons because it's on there. Oh, I didn't know about the giving them 2 hours to warm up before you give them food and then 2 hours after. That's really what you should do in order for them to digest their food well. With my first bearded dragon, I never had to have a sitter, but with my dude, I did have a sitter twice, and I had instructions. And even though you might think your instructions are detailed, you might discover that maybe they could have been more detailed. Even if you don't have a sitter, if you have a family member who's home with your dragon, you'll want to make sure that they know what to do. So if they go to the bathroom, how to clean it. If they need food while you're not there, then how to do that. Your bearded dragon might pick a favorite person You'll probably be the person that gives them the most attention and feeds them. But yeah, my dude, it took him a while to warm up to me. He was very skittish, and he's still kind of skittish today. But he trusts me, and I can go in and pick him up anytime, and he doesn't freak out. Sometimes he'll make his little spikes really spiky. So when I pick him up, it's kind of like, whoa, that's firm. But like right now, it does not feel firm at all, does it? It does not. Hi. Hello. And yeah, so with her, I did not pick her up nearly as much as him. I pick him up all the time. Hi. And we spend time together, don't we? Oh, that's right. I had analog thermometers instead of digital. So hi. So the temperatures were probably not accurately read. I didn't have a hide on each side. It's good to have one on each side. He spends times under his cool hide, and sometimes he'll spend it on under his warm hide. My first one had a hammock, and I have pictures of the heating lamp being right over the hammock, which isn't really an adequate way to make sure that your dragon gets heat for their belly, because they need that belly heat to digest their food. So the heat source was right over the hammock, which it should be like on either a slate or a tree or a firm hide, so that it can get that belly heat so they can digest their food. The first enclosure she was in was a 20-gallon. So it's thought that the very minimum they should ever be in is a 40. But she was in a 20-gallon until she got into it was 55-gallon. I used to have water in the enclosure. I didn't really know much about humidity. So the humidity might not have been the best. She did get a dig box when she was digging, and I thought she might need to lay eggs. So I did put her in a dig box so she could do that. He's a male, so he doesn't need one to lay eggs, but you can give them a dig box in there, or like a loose substrate on one side of their enclosure if you don't want it to be all substrate. That way it's also easy if you ever need to do a complete clean out. Oh, be aware that they can get stressed by things. So if there's loud noises, it can affect them, and it can make them unhealthy. So they could be, if they are under a lot of stress, they can get sick. So she never got sick as far as I was aware. They don't really show signs until they're really not okay. But she did go to the vet. I took her to the vet, and I was feeding her everything that I knew to feed her. Now I don't feed him carrots at all. Never fed him cucumbers. Kind of embarrassed to say I did that. I did used to feed her dandelion greens. But yeah, she did not get the variety that he gets today. He gets quite a variety of food. And I've also grown my food for him from time to time. I never grew food with her. I probably thought about it, but I did not. My first bearded dragon, her name was Trogdor, and she was an awesome dragon. I did end up rehoming her because I was working a lot and nobody was home to spend time with her. And when I would leave, she would be in the same spot. At the end of the day, she would be in the same spot she was when she left. So she seemed depressed to me, and I felt like she was being neglected. So I found a really, really good home. Somebody who was familiar with bearded dragons, and they took her. I did not want to rehome her unless she went to a really good place, because the whole family loved her and still has a place in our heart for her. But the thing too is that there's it's okay if you discover that you do not have the means to take care of your pet, to try to find a better situation for them. Obviously, there are things you can do to make things easier on yourself. And if you want, I can make a video about that. But don't beat yourself up if you discover you can't give them what they need and that you have to say goodbye, because even though it's really sad and hard, it's better for them to not be in a bad situation because you just can't let go. So she'll always have a place in our hearts, but at the time it's what she needed, and I'm sure she's doing really well.